Alright everyone, this is Regulus Pastor, and wow, it's been a week. Well, over a week and a half, because last week we weren't able to do Higurashi at all. My mic wasn't registering in the computer. Here I thought it was the headset's problem, and I was really upset with that, because it's a brand new headset. But, turned out to be the computer's problem. I guess now it just doesn't want to do it if it's been running for so long. So now I just have to remember to restart it before use for streaming. So let's continue. We may be wrapping up Onikakushi-hen tonight, and I'm excited because it's only gonna get more messed up from here. Okay. Oh yeah. This seems pretty loud. Okay. That's a little better. Let's do new tips. Okay. Split personality.
よく映画などに登場しますが、簡単に言うとどのようなものでしょうか？
I see it in movies quite often, but what is it exactly?
複数の人格を持つことによる逃避と考えられています。
Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism.
多重人格は逃避の一つなのですか？
Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape?
さようです。そのメカニズムは完全には解明されていませんが、精神を守るために脳が行う防御行動の一つではないかと考えられています。
Correct. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability.
例えば、貧乏な人がお金持ちになった自分を想像するという現実逃避ってありますよね。これも多重人格なわけですか？
Hypothetically, poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder?
極論はできませんが、講義的にはそう解釈できます。つまり、誰にでもあり得る現象なのです。
I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all.
その現実逃避の見境がなくなると二重人格になるのですか？
Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape?
ちょっと難しいですね。そう提唱する説もありますし、否定する説もあります。
That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that, and some who disagree.
諸説紛々です。
There's no consensus.
では、精神医学の世界ではまだ多重人格というのは未知の解明されていない現象なんですか？
Then is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field?
残念ながらそうなります。今後の研究が期待されます。
Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research.
でも二重人格なんてなんだかかっこいいですよね。どういう人が二重人格になれるんですか？
I think people who actually have split personalities would beg to differ. But it's sort of cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities?
なれると言いますか、なりやすいと言いますか。最近の研究では遺伝と死因が複雑に絡み合い、
Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed or may have had a normal mental development.
中でも幼少期の育児体験が大きく作用するのではないかと言われています。
Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances.
そういえば、この A 君も家庭に問題を抱えてるんですよね。気の毒に。
Speaking of which, Person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad.
7つの人格を持つ青年 A。
Person A has 7 different personalities.
では、 VTR の続きをどうぞ。
Let's watch a video of him.
ですが、その前にコマーシャル。
Right after these commercials. The classic reporter who does not know or care what is appropriate. Okay, at the 7th Mart. The 7th Mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. I flopped the colorful collection of cup noodle bowls into the cart, muttering in irritation at being rushed by my parents. As expected, Mom gave a disbelieving look and asked why I had to get so many flavors.
最近のカップ麺は凝ってて種類も多いんだよ。どれも一通りは食ってみたいし。
Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Looking displeased at the sheer amount and number of different varieties, Dad told me to go get a multi-pack instead of individual ones. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise.
それじゃあ一種類しか食えないよ。飽きちゃうって。
Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting as a formality. I had already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. Mom and Dad were already waiting in line, calling for me as I struggled with the decision. The line is short and there isn't much time. Kinda sounds like me and the indecisiveness aspect, but yeah, I wouldn't have pushed it. I'm a very, I don't want to say submissive, non-confrontational, I guess. The line is short, and there isn't much time. Left with no choice, I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want. When in trouble, that's it! Pork bone and ginger, extra large! If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. So when I plunked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart, Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, "These ones?" To show her this was my last compromise, I began explaining the choice.
豚骨はうまいんだよ。大盛りだけど大味ってわけじゃないし。
Pork bone is good. You get a large serving, but the flavor isn't too strong. I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching, but of course, I couldn't find her. Then, was she spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. Darn, his memory's better than mine. There's nobody looking over this way, and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I'd definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on, and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box. Tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind mine. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had ran at that time. It should be than I had run. Whatever. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before. Not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. I passed Self's hair still on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move. So you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules! Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? Like how the presence was moving behind me! I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, it began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Ah! I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it. But what is this? Just as a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurp the juices, and finally discover that it was an apple, my mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew, slurp the juices, and discover the apple. Meaning, what was in front of me was... Okay. Those were just the tips. I guess I'd be lying if I said it didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. Well, I guess it's better than nodding awake and... never mind. I spent all night hugging the metal bat and sat on top of the futon. The futon I used to barricade my door. Blah. Waiting. Watching just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left the spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. You ever watch Nightmare on Elm Street? It was so much better to just stay awake. 4 plates on it, or 4 for that matter. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside. But that was it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. But Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time. But I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable. So staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oi-san wouldn't help me without cold hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So, unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Maebara Keiichi. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just gonna twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when 2 samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. Alright, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength, and entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to go to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Maebara Keiichi. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. Scene transitions, man. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though, it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl.
ケイちゃん、相変わらず甲子園一直線だね。
Kei-chan! I see you're still aiming for the nationals! It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised.
ミオンか。
Oh, Mion.
分かってるなら放っておいてくれよ。
If you understand, then leave me alone.
俺は甲子園で忙しいんだ。
I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly keeping Mion from getting any closer.
ケイちゃんさ、ちょっと休憩。
Hey, Kei-chan! Take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest.
ホームルームまであとちょっとだろ。
Homeroom's not that far off, is it?
もう一汗かかせてくれよ。
Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. I'm starting to sound like, Steve from Harvester, you know, where everything he says is just so angst-filled.
ケイちゃんって野球好きだったっけ？
Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball?
最近好きになった。
Just recently.
最近って昨日から？
Recently? You mean yesterday?
分かってんなら聞くなよ。
Don't ask if you already know.
あれまあ。
Oh dear.
スポーツマンにしては爽やかじゃないお返事だことで。
That's a very unsportsmanlike reply.
気が散る。
You're distracting me.
放っておいてくれ。
Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility. But we were at school, in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out.
何か用なんだろう。
You need me for something, right?
なんだよ。
What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me.
用ってわけでもないけどさ。
Well, it's nothing important.
お疲れのようなら後にするけど。
If you're tired, I can ask again later.
今でいい。
Now it's fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge this situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others? That's out of the question.
さ。
Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But unlike Oi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire.
おじさんダメだわ、こういうの。
This old man's just no good at this stuff.
ボキャ品は辛いわ。
Having a poor vocabulary hurts.
なんだよ、突然。
What's this all of a sudden?
言いたいことがあるならはっきりと言えよ。
If you have something to say, just say it.
やめてよ。
Stop it.
素振り。
Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank, I didn't understand it for a moment. I'd already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I?
ちゃんとやめてるだろ。
Just stopped, didn't I?
じゃなくて、
That's not what I meant.
今日で終わりにしてほしいの。
I want today to be the last day you swing that bat.
悪いけど。
I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat?
なんでだよ。
Why?
余計なお世話だよ。
It's not your business, is it?
別に誰にも迷惑かけてないだろ。
I'm not bothering anyone, am I?
かけてる。
You are! Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense and that was really irritating.
俺がいつ誰に迷惑をかけたよ。
When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke. Though she stuttered as she said it.
だってさ、ケイちゃん、それ、人のバットだしさ。
Because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat.
無断借用は悪いし。
You shouldn't borrow it without permission.
転校した生徒の忘れ物だろ。
It was left behind by a student who transferred, right?
本人が取りに来るまで借りてるだけだよ。
I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it.
まあね。転校したし。
Huh? Yeah. He transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie.
でも変わってるよな。
That's strange, isn't it?
兄貴だけ転校なんだろ。
For the older brother to transfer by himself,
妹は転校しなかったんだろ。
while his little sister stayed behind. Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up.
ケイちゃん、知ってたの？
Kei-chan, you knew?
北条聡。
Hojo Satoshi,
聡子の兄貴だろ。
Satoko's older brother, right?
去年、鬼隠しにあって消えた。
The one demoned away last year. Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent.
レナにも言われた。
Rena asked the same thing.
なんで素振りを始めたのかってな。
Why did you start swinging that bat?
サトシもやってたんだってな。
She told me Satoshi did the same thing,
素振り。
practicing his swings
それも、失踪の直前に。
right before he went missing.
これってさ、お社様のたたりに合う前兆ってわけなのか？
So, Is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh. Mion panicked and looked around.
頼むよ、ケイちゃん。お社様の話はうかつにしないでよ。
Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly.
私はそんなに信じてないからいいけどさ、他のみんなはすごく信じてる。
I don't believe in him, but the others very much do.
レナなんかやばいくらいに。
Rena especially.
やばいくらいに？
Dangerously so.
とにかく。
Anyway,
みんな怖がってるんだよ。
you're scaring everyone.
もしもこれが悪ふざけならやめな。
If you're just fooling around, then stop it.
サトシの真似は絶対にやめて。
You have to stop acting like Satoshi! I was the one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? It still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It'd be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions.
先に言っとく。
I'll say this now.
俺はサトシのことは何も知らない。
I don't know anything about Satoshi.
みんなが隠してたからな。
After all, you didn't tell me anything about him.
隠してたってわけじゃ。
We didn't mean to hide it.
毎年起こる事件のことを隠してたろ。
You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you?
それは、ケイちゃんを。
That's because we didn't want to.
怖がらせたくなかったってのか？
You didn't want to scare me?
それが理由で俺だけのけ者かよ。
That's your reason for leaving me out?
いや、そんなつもりじゃ。
No, you didn't mean to.
ミオンに直にダム現場で事件がなかったかって聞いたよな。
Mion, I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I?
ミオンはないって言ったじゃないか。
And you told me nothing happened.
嘘つき野郎。
You lied to me.
ごめん。嘘ってわけじゃ。
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you.
仲間ってのは隠し事なんかなしだろ。
Friends don't hide things from each other, right?
そうだろ。
Isn't that right?
じゃあお前らは仲間じゃない。
Then you are my friends.
ケイちゃん、そんなのって。
Kei-chan. Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this.
ああ、それに先日の見舞いのおはぎ、あれうまかったぜ。血が出るかと思った。
Oh, by the way, this get well mochi you brought the other day? They were good. I thought it was gonna bleed.
やったのはどっちだ？
Who did it?
お前か？
You?
レナか？
Rena?
私。
Me? She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was.
死ぬかもしれなかったんだぞ。
You could have killed me.
仲間にあんな真似をするのかよ。
How could you do that to a friend?
そんな。ちょっとしたいたずらじゃん。
But it was just a little prank. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me.
あれがいたずらで済むかよ。
You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi. It was a needle. A sewing needle. If I'd swallowed that, and it lodged in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Sonozaki Mion I knew anymore.
とにかく
Anyway,
お前は仲間じゃない。
you're not my friend.
仲間じゃない奴の指図は受ける言われはない。
There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend.
俺のことは当分放っておいてもらうぜ。
So just leave me alone for a while.
いいな。
Got it. Mion wasn't replying anymore.
俺を消そうとしても簡単にはいかないからな。
It won't be that easy to erase me, you know.
お前らは最初から警察に疑われてんだ。
The cops have been onto you from the start.
サトシを消せたように簡単に消せると思うなよ。
So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi! I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war.
俺も過去の事件はお前らが怪しいと思ってる。
I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too.
ダムの反対運動の時からお前が警察の世話になってたこともよく知ってる。
I also know you've spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement.
隠しきれてると思うなよ。いいな。
Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that?
どうしてそんなことまで。
How did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ring the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom.
行こうぜ。
Let's go.
委員長がいないとまずいだろ。
The class representative needs to be there, right?
ん？
Huh? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks.
ひどいよ、ケイちゃん。
You're so mean, K-chan.
み、
I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty.
俺、行くぜ。
I'm going.
ホームルーム遅れるなよ。
Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself.
そっか。
So that's how it is.
え？
Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her.
ケイちゃんに全部バラしたの。
So
あの野郎か。
So it was... He leaked it all to Kei-chan. She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot at the ground with a terrifying, yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. His transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's.
あの時殺しとくんだったな。
I should have killed him back then.
今年で定年だからって容赦してやった恩も忘れやがって。
He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Retiring this year? She's talking about Oichi-san.
ちくしょう。ちくしょう。あのじじい。
Darn it. Darn it. I'm going to kill.
絶対に殺してやる。
Old man. It felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending. Whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage.
起立
Rise!
気をつけ
Attention! Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The months since I transferred in had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling. But today, it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense, yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join into the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. Yeah, it is ohagi. But technically ohagi is a kind of mochi. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. Because ohagi is a variant of what they call bota mochi. Really the only difference is the thickness of the flour they use. But deep down inside me, far beneath, in the recesses of my heart, achingly I knew this would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere, mixed in with their shrieks, Tomitake-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashi fruitlessly crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened, but I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. Their presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No, since I was able to hear their footsteps. They were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I had hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at the person following me. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it were carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was a hatchet. I'll call it what actually is a nata. Although natas don't typically have that spike. I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror, laid bare. Baseball. Practicing my swing, there were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that hatchet, there's no excuse for that. The hatchet, just like that?
ケイチくん。ケイチくん。かくれんぼかな Are you playing hide and seek? I wonder?
My heart was pounding. Hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here.
レナを驚かせようとしたのかな Were you trying to scare me? I wonder?
I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now, since there was still space between us and to allow Rena to come any closer. You see, I like how the anime handled this better because, you know, it was more like he was going around the corner across the street when he saw Rena off in the distance coming up behind him on the street as well. Then he hid in the trees, and then after he had gotten in hiding position, he looked and he couldn't find her. And then she was right behind him, and she says in the creepiest voice,
ケイチくん見つけた
Correct.
I found you, ケイチくん
I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree. See?
I found you, Kate-kun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous, hot, and cold substance began spreading around, if I allowed it. That substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good, not good! I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back! Don't lose!
何の用だよ
What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
ケイチ君と同じ Just the same as Kate 君帰り道だよ I'm heading home
じゃあそのナタは何だよ
Then what about that hatchet?
じゃあケイチ君のそのバットは何なのかな Then what about that bat you're holding?
俺は素振りで
I'm practicing my swing.
じゃあレナは宝探しなの Then I'm treasure hunting
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon.
宝探し
Treasure hunting?
ダム現場の宝の山にねまた新しいかいいのを見つけたの At the treasure mountain near the dam site I found a new cute thing だからねそれを発掘するために必要なの So I needed this to dig it out
信じるかよそんなの
How could I believe that?
信じないよね You wouldn't believe it, would you?
as high as I can go. Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious.
待ってよ、ケイチくん。Wait, ケイチくん。
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. The cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape.
ついてくるなよ
Don't follow me!
それはできない相談だよ。I can't do that. レナの家もこっちだもん。My house is this way after all.
You get the point. When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I just changed my route. That would work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth.
どうしてついてくるんだよ
Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
ケイチくんとお話ししたいから。Because I want to talk with ケイチくんもレナとお話ししたいんじゃないかな。ケイチくん wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he?
Oh, that's very sweet, but
俺は何も話したいことなんかない
I don't want to talk about anything with you.
嘘だよね。That's a lie, isn't it? 相談したいこときっとあるはずだよ。There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
ない
Not at all.
レナと話すことなんか何もないよ
I have nothing to talk to you about.
嘘だよね。That's a lie, isn't it?
嘘じゃないよ
That's not a lie.
嘘だ
Then a scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace.
お話ししようよ、ケイチくん。Let's talk, ケイチくん。お話。
Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street?
ケイチくんには悩んでることがあるんじゃないかな。Doesn't Cage have something he's worried about?
ないよ
Nothing at all.
何も悩んでない
I'm not worried about anything.
嘘だ
Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any farther away?
わかるよ。わかる。I know. レナはわかるよ。I really do know. 怖いんだよね、ケイチくん。You're scared, aren't you, ケイチくん。
怖くなんかない
I'm not scared.
何も怖いことなんか
I'm not scared of anything.
嘘だ
I think it's pretty safe to say he's imagining all these laughs. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, without spoiling much, it's pretty obvious. My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat.
レナだけは相談に乗ってあげられるよ。
I'll listen.
今度こそ乗ってあげられる。
This time I'll listen.
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
今度こそ相談に乗ってあげられる。
This time I'll listen.
サトシ君の時とは違うもの。
It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop.
サトシ君も悩んでた。
Satoshi-kun was worried too.
辛そうだった。
It looked like he was having such a hard time.
でもレナは相談に乗ってあげられなかった。
But I didn't listen.
とても悲しかった。
I was so sad.
Where did this street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs. It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
サトシ君が転校しちゃった時ね、本当に後悔したんだよ。
I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out.
レナが相談に乗ってあげれば、サトシ君は転校せずに済んだかもしれないって。
I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out.
すごく後悔した。
I really regretted that.
The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm.
だからね、誓ったの。
So you see, I vowed.
もしもサトシ君みたいに苦しんでる人にもう一度会えたなら、レナが助けてあげようって。
I
も
vowed
う
that
人が転校するところは見たくないの。
I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see anyone transfer out again.
What does transfer even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I want it up the same as Satoshi.
さあ、ケイチ君、レナに話して。
Come on, Kate-kun. Talk to me.
レナはきっとケイチ君を理解してあげられるよ。
I'll be able to understand you, Kate-kun.
レナだけはケイチ君の味方。
I'm your ally.
I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode, and my heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at this stupid thought.
悩みがなくなれば、きっとケイチ君も元通り。
If Kate-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal.
みんなとも仲良しに戻れて、また楽しく部活ができるよ。
Everyone will be back to being friends and we can enjoy club activities again.
今度は一緒に組んで、みーちゃんをやっつけようね。
Next time we'll team up and beat Me-chan.
Yeah, how much fun that would be. And I couldn't even imagine how much I had wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days.
レナともきっと仲良しに戻れるよ。
You could be nice to me again, too.
また一緒に宝探しに行きたいね。
I want to go searching for treasure again.
今度はお弁当も作っていくよ。
This time I'll prepare a nice lunch.
なんなら今から宝探しでもいいよ。
Actually, we could just go right now.
行こうよ。一緒にダム現場。
Let's go up to the dam site together.
見つけたばかりのかわいいの、ケイチ君にも見せてあげるね。
I'll show you the cute thing I just found.
きっとケイチ君も気に入るよ。
I'm sure you'll like it too.
My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have frozen the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating.
何が怖いのかな?
Are you afraid of something, I wonder?
怯えるなんてケイチくんらしくないよ。
It's not like you to tremble, Kate-kun.
Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of arms as they moved made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then as both of her hands met above her head, the hatchet that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do.
教えてくれ。
Tell me,
サトシはどうなったんだよ。
what happened to Satoshi? Rena stayed like that, with that hatchet raised above her head, and solemnly opened her mouth, as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions.
言ったよ。
I told you.
サトシくんは転校したの。
Satoshi-kun transferred out.
その転校ってのをやめろよ。
Enough of that transfer crap!
鬼隠しってことなんだろ。
It means demoned away, doesn't it?
そうだろ。
Doesn't it?
もう教えてくれたっていいだろ。
You can tell me now, can't you?
サトシを消したのは誰だよ。
Who made Satoshi disappear?
レナか。
Was it you?
ミオンか。
Mio?
それとも村の誰かが。
Or someone in the village?
答えろよ。
Answer me! I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face.
ケイチくんが何を言ってるかわからないな。
I have no idea what Kate-kun's talking about.
じゃあ分かるように言ってやる。
Now say it in a way so you do!
連続開始事件の犯人は誰だ。
Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths?
ケイチくんは勘違いしてるよ。
You seem to be confused, Kate-kun.
え？
Eh?
人間の犯人なんかいない。
There is no human perpetrator.
すべてはお社様が決めることだもの。
Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will.
お社様のたたりなんて迷信だろ。
Isn't Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition?
レナは信じてるってのか。
You believe in that too?
信じるとか信じないとかじゃない。
It's not about believing or not.
お社様はいるの。
Oyashiro-sama exists. Period.
Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything.
お社様なんているわけが。
There's no way that something like Oyashiro-sama exists.
ケイチくんは信じないの？
You don't believe
お社様。
in Oyashiro-sama?
信じられるはずないだろ。
There's no way I could believe it.
そんなのいるわけがない。
There's There's no way it could exist.
いるよ、
It exists.
お社様。
Oyashiro-sama.
圭一くんだって身近に感じてるはずだよ。
Keiichi-kun should have thought it personally.
そんなもの感じたことないよ。
I never felt something like that.
圭一くんさ、誰かに謝られたことない？
Keiichi-kun, haven't you felt someone apologizing to you before?
それもずっと。
Constantly? On top of that?
All noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded, loudly and terribly.
それはね、許してもらえるまでずっとついてくるの。
You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you.
学校へも、
At school,
お家へも、
at home,
枕元へも。
at your bedside.
I couldn't understand what Rena was saying.
レナのところへも来たんだよ、
It came to me too,
お社様。
Oyashiro-sama.
だからレナは転校してひなみ沢に帰ってきたの。
That's why I transferred and came back to Hinamizawa.
I don't understand. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying?
圭一くんのところにもお社様来てるんじゃない？
Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiichi-kun?
きっと相談に乗れるのは私だけ。
I'm probably the only one who can go confide in.
圭一くんを転校なんかさせないからね。
I won't let you transfer out. Okay?
Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about that when I asked about Rena. Oh, sorry.
他言無用でお願いします。
Hold on. To get the phone effect.
Please keep this confidential.
また内容には一部憶測も含まれているかもしれません。
Also, part of this may be speculation.
すべてが真実ではないかもしれないということです。
Not all of it may be true.
よろしいですね。
Are you still interested?
Oi-san began speaking.
被害者も学校も告訴していないので、調書がないのです。
Neither their victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report.
つまり、警察が関与してないわけなんですよ。
Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this matter.
ですから、詳細は関係者からの聞き取りのみなのです。
So all these details are just what I heard from those involved.
つまり、信憑性が高くない。
Meaning it's not all that credible.
被害者って言いましたか？
You said there were victims?
レナはガラスを割っただけじゃないんですか？
Didn't Rena just break all the windows?
いえ、男子生徒が3人ほどリュウグウレナに殴られています。
No, Ryugu Rena had attacked 3 boys
金属バットでです。
using metal bat.
2人はあざで済みましたが、1人は片目に後遺症を残すほどの大怪我をしたそうです。
2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged.
Yeah, Rena is pretty cute. Pretty. My waifu of this franchise is Shion, though. Which makes no sense because there are very few traits Shion actually has that would attract me, and she has a lot of traits that would turn me off in real life.
それって傷害事件じゃないんですか？
Wouldn't that be considered assault? Did I read this last part?
2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged.
I think I did. Wouldn't that be considered assault?
警察は逮捕とかしないんですか？
Shouldn't the police have arrested her?
どういうわけか被害者が告発しないんですよ。
I don't know why I set this down.
For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Like I said before when, like the first time this was being brought up, if there's damage that bad from a physical assault on 3 boys, and they didn't press charges, it's because they did something worse. What's worse than that? Well, probably an attempted sexual assault, attempted rape. So they had it coming to them.
警察に届け出がないので
There was no report to the police, so
They were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation. But why didn't they press charges?
被害者の男子生徒3人にもそれぞれ話を聞こうとしましたが全員口が重いんです。
I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they all were reluctant.
こう言ってはなんですが怯えてるんですよ。
It's hard to say, but they were all afraid.
彼女が転校した今でも
Even after she had transferred schools.
大石さん、
Oh, so.
話を最初から整理して話してくれませんか？
Could you summarize it starting from the beginning? Rena hit people while she broke the windows? Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different. I think it's the second, personally.
暴月暴日
Because, you know, being a victim of an attempted sexual assault and or an attempted rape would be enough to set you off. And then, you know, if you were already of an unstable mind beforehand, then I could see how that's like a trigger.
On an undisclosed date,
竜宮レナは親しい男子生徒3人と一緒にプール倉庫のあたりで話をしていました。
Rena was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed.
その3人って何者ですか？
Who were those 3?
個人名は伏せますが3人とも竜宮レナととても親しい仲良しグループだったそうです。
I can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena, and it seems they were a group of friends.
彼女はこう言ってんだったんですな。
She was the lone girl in their group.
So it wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together.
それでどうなったんです？
So what happened?
理由はわかりません。
They don't know the reason why.
竜宮レナはプール倉庫脇にあった野球部のバットを手に取り3人を次々に殴り倒しました。
She took the baseball team's bat that was in the pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them down, one after the other.
え？
There were no witnesses. So they took her out to a shed, convinced her because of their friendship, and tried to get her on her own so they could violate her. They definitely got what was coming to them. This was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather, they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. At that time, Rena underwent a change. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Then, taking a metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other, leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their heads. She made her way towards the school building. Then she broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on scene and subdued her.
レナに起こった変化って何ですか？
What was this change Rena underwent?
3人の証言で一致するのは、突然人が変わった。
What matches up in the statements from the three was a sudden change.
表変したという点です。
The point that there was a transformation.
表変。
Transformation. I also could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena.
その表変っていうのはたびたびあったことなんですか？
That transformation they're talking about. Had it happened before?
いえ、そういうのは全くなかったそうです。
No, there was nothing like that.
私も調べられる限り、彼女の過去や病歴等を追ってみましたが、見つけることはできませんでした。
As far as I could find out in her medical history in the past, there was nothing like that.
そのレナみたいに突然人が変わる現象って結構あるんですか？
Excuse me, needed to clear my throat there. Does that happen often? Where people change suddenly like Rena did?
もちろんありますよ。精神的なものから性格的なものまでたくさんあります。
There are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that.
ではレナには潜在的に表変する要素があったってことですか？
Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused that transformation?
断言はできません。
I cannot say that for certain.
ですが、竜宮レナをよく知る友人たちからの証言では、とても彼女にそういう要素があるようには思えません。
But according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe she had such a side to her.
Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting them with a bat. Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I, myself, sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that I was Rena. For thinking that was Rena. Even now.
そしてどうなったんですか？
Then, what happened after that?
学校の正面が病院でしたので、3人はすぐに病院に担ぎ込まれ、手当てを受けました。
There was a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly.
レナは？
What about Rena?
警察は？
What about the police?
どうして警察沙汰にならなかったんですか？
Why wasn't there a criminal investigation?
警察は呼ばれなければ関与はできませんからね。
You see, the police can't get involved unless they are called.
一人は後遺症を残すくらい大怪我したんじゃないんですか？
Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage?
どうして訴えないんです？
Why didn't they file charges?
私もそこは引っかかりました。
That's what caught my attention as well.
何かの圧力、もしくは脅迫があったのか。
Either some threat or pressure was placed on them.
それとも訴えたくても訴えられない理由があったのか。
Or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to.
Ding ding!
もちろん大石さんのことですから調べたんですよね。
We're talking about you after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you?
ねえ、まあ。
Oh, yeah.
ですが、初めに言いましたよね。
But I told you at the beginning, didn't I?
被害者たちの口がとにかく重いのです。
That the victims were all very reluctant to talk.
触れたがらないというか、関わりたくないというか。
They didn't want to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. Resembled the villagers here in Oyashiro-sama's curse.
学校の先生とかからは何も聞けなかったんですか？
Did the teacher at that school tell you anything?
学校は聖域なんですよ。
The school is
隠蔽体質とでも言いますか。
You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps.
私も捜査令状を取ってませんから弱いんですよね。
I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see.
じゃあ学校側はノーコメント。
Then there was no comment from the school?
いえ、
No,
事件の存在自体を否定しました。
they denied the incident even happened.
ですが某日、
It's just,
間違いなく病院に3人の男子生徒が打撲で担ぎ込まれたのは事実なんです。
3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day.
病院にその記録が残ってますので。
That's all there was in the hospital records.
被害者は語らず学校は否定する。
The victims didn't speak. The school denied it happened.
何もわからないじゃないですか。
And you don't know anything at all!
ね
Yeah,
え、その事件があったという事実以上のことは何もわかりません。
I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place.
被害者たちもこの事件が公になることを望んでいませんので、私と前原さん、私たち2人が忘れれば事件はそのまま闇に消えるでしょうな。
The victims also wished this incident to be kept from the public. So if you and I both forget about it, Maibara-san, then this incident will probably just fade away.
For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by roiling waves, sinking quietly into the void, as if it never existed to begin with.
その後、学校を謹慎で休学します。
After that, she was suspended by the school.
そしてその間、神経科医のカウンセリングを受けました。
And during that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling.
My brain's starting to fart on me.
その医者からは何か聞けたんですか。
Did you hear anything from that doctor?
これがまた職業倫理のしっかりした尊敬すべき方でしてね。
Again, they're very professional in regards to the ethics.
Always seems to resent that professional ethicism.
口が硬いんですよ。もうとにかく。
I guess it's not his style.
Or at the very least, very tight-lipped.
警察手帳を見せてもダメなんですか。
Nothing even after you showed them your badge?
書面で申請しろと言われました。
I was told to get a warrant.
手帳自体に法的拘束力は何もありませんからね。
The badge itself has no legally binding authority after all.
じゃあ大石さんはどうやってレナがお社様のことを告白したことを知ったんですか。
Then how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it?
一部を聞いてた看護師さんがいましてね。
There was a nurse I asked in that department.
この方は手帳を見せただけで協力してくださいました。
She agreed to help me just from showing her my badge.
それでなんと。
Then what did she say? Turns out that the nurse hadn't heard everything. Apparently all that she remembered was what she overheard from inside the room.
看護師さんが言うには、その時の竜宮レナはとても淡々としていて落ち着いていたそうです。
The nurse said that at the time, Ryugu Rena was very calm and mild-mannered.
It was more like she was confessing her sins at church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it. But partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while.
例のお社様の話はどこで出てきたんですか。
The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that part pop up?
途中です。
Partway through,
その名前を突然叫んだのです。
she screamed the name suddenly.
だから看護師さんもびっくりして聞き耳を立てたのです。
That startled the nurse, and that's when she started listening in.
お社様です。
It was Oyashiro-sama!
Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor, calmly and collectedly, asked Rena to have a seat.
そのお社様というのは何ですか？
Here, I'll pull out my Dr. Kaufman voice from Silent Hill 1 for this. What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently. A fundamental part of counseling is to be a good, patient listener.
ひなみ沢を捨てた人は必ずお社様に追われるんです。
Whoever abandons Yamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama.
そしてとうとう私のところにも来たんです。
It's finally gotten to me.
竜宮さんが今のお家に引っ越される前に住んでいた町ですね。
That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugu-san?
私は引っ越したくなかったけど、お母さんとお父さんの都合で仕方なく引っ越しました。
I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to.
Okay, this is really important. So this probably contributed to her instability of mind. Once Manga Gamer releases the new version of Tsumihoroboshi-hen, I'm gonna buy that up, and we're gonna read it just like this arc and every arc in between.
お社様は許してくれなかったんです。
Oyashiro-sama went away.
竜宮さんはきっとひなみ沢にもお友達がたくさんいたんでしょうね。
Ryugu-san must have lots of friends in Hinamizawa.
今でも懐かしいんじゃないですか？
Even now, you must be missing them dearly, don't you think?
帰りたい。
I want to go back.
ひなみ沢に帰りたい。
Hinamizawa. Back to Hinamizawa.
帰りたいんじゃない。帰らなきゃいけない。
It's not that I want to go back. I have to go back.
本当はもっと早くに帰らなきゃいけなかった。
I should have gone back much sooner.
でももうダメ。
But now it's too late.
お社様が来てしまった。
Oyashiro-sama has come.
お社様というのはそのひなみ沢の神様なんですね。
Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa. Isn't that right?
誰でも知ってるひなみ沢の守り神様なんです。
Everyone knows. It's Hinamizawa's guardian deity.
それでひなみ沢を捨てて出て行こうとすると罰を当てるんです。
And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur its wrath.
竜宮さんが引っ越しをされたのはもうずいぶん前ですよね。
You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you?
では今になってその神様がやってきたということですか？
Then it was just now that this god has arrived, is what you're saying?
信じないでしょうけど、お社様はいるんです。
You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists.
That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered.
お社様がか。
That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right?
確かにひなみ沢にはそういう迷信があります。
I do believe there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa.
里を捨てて出ていくとお社様の罰が当たるという。
That if you leave the village, then you incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath.
この辺りは前原さんもすでにご存知ですよね。
You should be familiar with this part, Maibara-san.
I knew very well what those scorned by the village incurred. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then the following year, Satoru's parents, supporters and leading advocates for the dam, were cursed to their death. But this was the first time I'd heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village.
初耳です。
This is my first time hearing that.
村の外敵がたたられるのはわかりますが、どうして出ていく村人まで？
I can understand outside threats, by the village, but why also villagers who leave?
普通出ていくものはたたられないものじゃないんですか？
Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? I know it's a bit strange to say, but I could see it as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder, curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Always sound pondered for a bit over when the other end of the receiver then began speaking again.
ひなみ沢が大昔鬼ヶ淵と呼ばれていたという話はしましたよね。
I told you long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onikakushi, didn't I?
I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of ogres.
ふもとの村人たちは鬼たちを崇めていました。
The villagers at the foot of the mountains worship the ogres.
で、鬼ヶ淵は神聖な土地なので絶対に不可侵。
So Onikakushi was hallowed ground that you could never enter.
むやみに立ち入るとお社様のたたりがあるとされてきたんです。
It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama.
Those who set foot in Onikakushi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that.
それはわかります。
I know that,
でも出ていくのまでダメってのは
but for leaving to also be no good, that's...
鬼たちもまたですね。
Also, the ogres, you see.
俗世に出ていかないようお社様に厳しく見張られていたんだとか。
They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world.
つまりお社様っていうのは俗世と鬼ヶ淵の交流を禁じていたんでしょうな。
In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onikakushi and the rest of the world.
I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was.
つまりお社様ってのは守り神ってよりも監視者なんですね。
So basically, Oyashiro-sama was more like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess.
この地を外界から隔離しようとする。
Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world.
そんな感じになるんでしょうな。
Well, I guess that's how it would seem, huh?
すみません。私も詳しくないんです。
I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself.
この辺りはばあ様の受け売りでして。
This is mostly what was passed on to me from my grandmother.
I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So, because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed.
つまりレナは望まない引っ越しをしたためお社様のたたりにあったとそう話しているわけですか。
So that means, because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what it adds up to?
要約するとそういう意味なんでしょうな。
In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess.
実際この後しばらくしてひなみ沢に引っ越していますから。
As a matter of fact, soon afterwards I did move back to Hinamizawa after all.
They here is kind of ambiguous. But yeah, it's kind of ambiguous here. But I guess, yeah, I'll just wait until the other arc to define they in this instance, because it's not really relevant to what we're doing right now. Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and having them cursed? Also, in this day and age, Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them is cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be one person dying and one disappearing on the day of the Watanagashi. I don't like saying at most, though.
まあ とにかく
Well, anyways,
わからないことだらけなんですよ。
there's a lot I still don't know.
お社様のたたりがどうだったにせよ、クラスメートを金属バットで殴った理由にはなりませんし、被害者が訴えない理由にもなりません。
Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't explain Rena beating her classmates with a metal bat, or why the victims wouldn't press charges.
まさか前原さんも恐ろしいたたりが起こって被害者たちがすくみ上がったなんてこと信じるわけないですよね。
You don't think the victims were cowering because they believed that a terrible curse had befallen them, do you?
Of course I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse. It went missing. I had recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with the metal bat right before he disappeared, just like me. Then Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse. She confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon which she had used at the time of the horrendous act was, again, a metal bat. And finally, me. I had encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding onto a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be. Had the same thing happened to Rena? But there was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally, me. Could it be that I really was under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here, right now, it was standing before me.
Rena, 教えてくれ。
Rena, please tell me.
俺はどうなるんだよ。
What happened to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering.
サトシは消えた。
Satoshi disappeared.
だけどレナは消えなかった。
But Rena didn't disappear.
じゃあ俺はどうなるんだよ。
So, what will happen to me? I had never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. Oh, come on, Keiji, you've been hearing it like 1,199 times now. Just in the span of tonight. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling.
大丈夫だよ。
Don't
worry.
レナが助けてあげるから。
I'll see.
Rena took one step forward, still holding the hatchet high above her head.
さあ、
Now then.
One step closer. Rena's face spread out to fill my vision.
話して。
One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine, and was still pushing closer.
話したいことがあるんだよね。レナが聞いてあげる。
There's something you want to say, isn't there? How is it?
助けてあげるから。ね。
I'll say it again. Okay?
話してね。
Speak, okay?
話してね。
Speak, okay?
I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end, because when that laughing ended, following that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast even I couldn't believe it, and I pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was as light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the hatchet, she was sent backwards as if she had been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive! I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding out onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It ran through the trees and in my head, and slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The grove of trees thinned out, my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment, I was bewildered by the scenery I thought I knew, but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the dam site. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling, like I was following someone's scripted plot. I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run, but there was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles of my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. If I stopped here, they might not even be able to scream for much longer. I gotta take a drink. Oh, I just spritzed myself by accident. Okay. Even still, I glanced back, looking for an excuse to rest. But Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. Empty-handed, they definitely gave the impression that they were just out for a walk. But at this time of day, two adults wandering around without a purpose, it was enough to raise questions. But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and had finally started imagining things? I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right. I was gonna run! Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I had jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need to fear anything else. But right now, I realized just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly the story Oisa told me about all the demons leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of the frenetic footsteps. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me. But this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, this straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuer's arms grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Maribara Keiichi. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No. It felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the likes of an adult. In less than the time it would take to blink twice, when this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. On top of me. And then... Don't think about that, Keiichi. First realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg, or you go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right? Left! I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm. Using that inertia, I stopped and suddenly spun.
No!
The two of them were clearly startled. Momentarily losing sight of me, both their outstretched arms, ready to grab me, instead grasped at empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him for being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms as I turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. I smiled wryly on the inside.
俺に何か用かよ
What do you want with me?
次は眉間にお見舞いするぞこの野郎
Next one is gonna be right in your face, you asshole! It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other one would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore of my body. And I just have to settle it with the first move. I step in and strike the first one down. Narrowing my target down to the man on the right who had already been knocked down before, I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bones snapped like a twig. If they turned their back to it, then it's possible that the blow would travel all the way to their vital organs. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed further through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good. At this distance, in this position, in this state, there's no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. It didn't hurt at all. But the moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain coming from the abrasions on my skin, as though the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a better sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have the time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could. But at that moment, the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force once again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled, that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There's nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run. I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with a phrase that adequately described my situation. Alright, I think we're gonna save it here. My vocal folds are just ripped up. They've been ripped up. Trying to do Rena's high-pitched cackle didn't help things either. Alright. So we didn't end up finishing Onikakushi-hen tonight, but we will Thursday. That's good news. That means we can get on to Watanagashi. Tomorrow I will be on streaming The Last of Us, and watch out in general this week. Sometimes I will be hosting my friend DJ Atsuko. We'll be playing Resident Evil Outbreak together. But it'll probably be on his stream, so I'll mention it in Discord when I do that. But otherwise, we're still going with our Monday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule. Tuesday, The Last of Us. Thursday, we're returning to Higurashi no Naku Koro and wrapping this up for sure. But until then, I think I'm gonna call it a stream. So excited though. I just need to recuperate. Alright. So, looking forward to finishing this arc and getting on to the next one. Till then, thank you all so much for watching, everyone, and as always, if you like what you see, please feel free to click like, comment, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Any feedback you can give me at all will help me tailor my future content towards your interests. I'm Regulus Pastor, and until next time, Wale!